All right, so Tessie's, I said it doesn't need to be a Christmas theme. I'll do a quick one just to start us off, but you can be thinking about what you might share. I should say as well, it is on the stream, so just remember if you're sharing, have that in mind. Be careful not to share too many personal details about somebody else or anything like that. It's there, be aware of it. So the story I was going to share was just that it is a Christmassy one, and Christmas is such a good time for connecting with people. And yesterday we were able to open our home to our neighbours. We invited our street to come just to enjoy some mince pies and mulled wine. And we had about 7 households represented who all came in. We were quite full. And it was just really good to have that. And it's building on things that we've done in the past. So it built on the Coronation Street party that we did earlier in the year, and the mince pies and mulled wine we did last year, and the Jubilee, that's the one, Jubilee Street Party we did the year before. So all of those things, we just keep developing these relationships, getting to know people around us a bit more. And there were some really good conversations yesterday. So there was one lady in particular who was just talking about how she's been away from church for a long time, and she'd often thought about just coming in here. And so I was able to say, well, look, you're very welcome. Presbyterian in background. I said, we're maybe not quite as stern as some of the Presbyterians might be, and we're a little bit relaxed, but you're welcome to come and give it a go and see what it's like. So that was good, and just to continue to develop those relationships, to deepen them, and it's wonderful, isn't it, that we have these sort of opportunities. It's a bit easier at this time of year to do those sort of things. So that was one thing that we did. So there you go. Right, over to you. What have we got? Belinda's rushing up. Just nice and close to the microphone, please.
Yep. Okay. This is a couple of weeks ago. Well, I have a double whammy story, actually. A couple of weeks ago, I had the privilege of praying for 2 of our neighbours, and each of them had lost, our immediate neighbour had lost her mother, and another neighbour of ours had lost her father in the last 2 or 3 weeks. And I say privilege, it was a privilege, but it wasn't an easy thing to do. One of them, it was out in the middle of the street, and I just thought, I'm just going to ask, is it okay if I pray with you? And she was just kind of overwhelmed with gratefulness, really, that someone would take the time to pray. So, and the other lady, bless her, she is part of our hygiene bank, and we've grown to love her and to care about her very much. And she too, I mean, it isn't easy to say to someone who you're not quite sure where they're at, can I pray for you, especially at quite a difficult time. So just to say that, it's worth stepping out. It's worth just saying, can I pray for you? They can always say no. So that's just an encouragement, and it was a blessing, and as I say, it was a privilege to be able to do that. And the other thing was, we had a social for different people, friends that had been involved with the hygiene bank, people that have supported us in the hygiene bank, and it was a jolly time. We had a brilliant time. We had Employee of the Year, which we gave to one of the ladies that doesn't come here to church, but comes along and gives her all, absolutely gives her all to what we do in the hygiene bank. So we had a very special time with lots of very special people. So thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Belinda. Hazel.
Thank you for leaving it low down, Belinda. I would like to thank you all for your care to me over the last 2 weeks. Thank you for your prayers, flowers, hugs and cards. I have the same number of Christmas cards as sympathy cards, and it will be good to celebrate Doug's life together here in January. Thank you.
That's good. So there's the initial rush. Here we go. Mr. Turvey. You might need to lift that up a bit.
Thank you very much. So I want to say three things, if that's all right. If it's not, I'd still like to say three things. First one was somehow I was at the party that Belinda mentioned with the Hygiene Bank people, and it really encouraged me to see a missional community that is properly getting to know the people who don't know Jesus and bringing them on board and into spaces where they can start to develop a relationship and find out more. So I just wanted to give some kudos and some credit and to say how important and how positive I'd found that time, and to see a little bit more of how you do that. So I think that's brilliant, and I pray that God will continue to bless you in that work, those of you that are involved in the Hygiene Bank. I think that's really, really good. Second thing was, we have just got back from Switzerland, so Christmas link. We had some time with my son Jordan and his wife Christina and our little granddaughter Cece in a city in Switzerland. Now, the church group that they go to, I don't know if they describe it as a missional community or a midweek group, and I'm not sure that's very important actually, but they have followed God's calling, and they are an international group. So they're in Switzerland, but they all speak English when they come together, and they've got a number of people from other parts of the world. Now, I think a lot of these people are refugees rather than migrants, but they've come in and they're part of that community, and we were able to join them for their Christmas meal, which was in a restaurant, and just the conversations that were flowing there between people who were part of that group because of their faith, people who'd been coming along because they were learning English, was again really, really important and very exciting to listen to. And it just made me think about the 5D thing that we're doing over the next however long it takes to discern where God wants us to be investing our time and doing the right things, where he's already working, where we can be a part of what he's doing. And I think it filled me with hope that there were real opportunities. And my last thing was just to pick up on what Stuart said about neighbours, and I think that's fantastic to do as well. I heard somebody speak a couple of weeks ago, and they said, how well do you know your neighbours? Do you know them? If you drew a grid of 3 by 3 boxes and you put your name in the middle one, that's your home, could you name your 8 nearest neighbours? Could you name them? Could you say, well, that's where John lives, that's where Sarah lives, that's Patricia, that's Imran? You know, could you put names on there? And if you couldn't, maybe that's a starting point for you to determine who your community are. Can you start to add names to those boxes? And once you've got the names, what do you know about those people? And so it moves on from there. And it's very, very easy then to start to build relationships with those people and perhaps have a Christmas party for them or something else where you engage with them. So those things really encouraged me, and thank you.
Thank you. Any more? Sandy.
I'm just going to go on the theme of neighbours, because that seems to be what's happening this morning. Now, about 15 years ago, I had this thought. Can't say it was a vision or anything from God, but just the thought of doing a coffee morning for the neighbours in my street. Now, it's very easy to do that in my street because I live in bungalow land and all my neighbours are retired. And when you move to a street like that, you realise how lonely elderly people are. Now, this was about 15 years ago, but I felt in my heart I needed, other than Mick, another person or couple to do these coffee mornings with me. And lo and behold, must have been 2 years later, I get a call from this lady called Viv, who said she's moving into the area and just wanted to know some things about that. So, to cut a long story short, we started this coffee morning. Now, we only have it once a month. Our neighbours would like it every week, but we can only manage once a month. But you can imagine that over this time, we have really got to know our neighbours well. Now, Viv is very good, more than me, about caring for our neighbours, but it has given us opportunity at other times to go into the house, to see what their needs are, to be able to pray for them. So I just want to encourage you for the new year. A friend of mine has just started an open morning with their neighbours on a Saturday morning because of the conversation and seeing how all these neighbours come into our house. This week just gone by, we had 17 neighbours in our house. We played games with them. We read to them. We gave them a poem on the Christmas theme. We were able to pray for them because especially at Christmas and Easter, we feel we have a license to do that. But the amazing thing after we did all this, they clapped. So wasn't expecting that. So I just want to encourage you for the new year to maybe think when you could have your open day. Might be a Saturday morning if you're working. I know with life, with families, activities, you have to juggle a lot. I heard a story about this couple who started an orphanage in Romania for the street children. And part of me thought, I'd like to get involved with something like that. But in my heart, God said, it starts where you are. So I would just encourage you to think about what day of the week or month that you could do it. Thank you.
Great. It's good. Jets?
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. I'm going to stick with the neighbours theme as well. Last week we had a bit of a gathering before the carol service, and some of our neighbours came around. One chap came down to the carol service with us afterwards. And I just want to encourage you because you were a massive blessing to him. Lots of you knew him and were able to get alongside him and encourage him. And he works in a school where some of our older, former young people had been. And they spent quite a lot of time just talking with him and sharing what's been going on in their lives. So it's a massive encouragement. And I guess I just thought too, in terms of this neighbours theme, how God gives us amazing opportunities to work together in this. Lots of you might know that we had a bit of an issue with a tree earlier in the year, and it came down. But the neighbour whose tree it was connected in some ways to church, plays badminton with them. And your involvement in that created an openness, I think, and a trust that enabled us to get through quite a tricky time. So thank you to you and thank you to God for the opportunities and connections that he brings in our community.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it? We're not doing this on our own. We do it with Jesus with us, but we also do it together. I might need to put that down a bit. Yeah, right. Go ahead.
So I hate doing this, and I actually sent Jez to come and do that for me. And then I I just couldn't stay in my seat, because I've got another link to Neighbours, and what Sandy said just made me think I've got to go out there and tell people about this, because it was what Sandy said about you've got to start where you are. I read a really a challenging quote recently about loneliness being the greatest poverty, and I thought, I've got to stop just sitting around not doing anything about this. I need to actually do something about this. And I was a bit felt challenged to invite people who live in Old Stratford to come to our school for the afternoon and do a little afternoon tea for them. And I thought, I don't know if anyone's going to come, but I've got to stop thinking about this and just actually do something. And I don't know whether you understand this, but I sometimes get a real nudge from the Holy Spirit, and I don't hear a voice or I don't hear God talking to me verbally, but he does definitely give me a nudge. And I thought, I've got to just stop thinking about it, Elizabeth, and do it. And so I knew that we had an opportunity to do a leaflet drop at a community meal that was happening in the community centre at the beginning of December. So I thought, I know, I can invite those people that are going to that, because they're the elderly in our village, and they all go to that. And so I did, and the amazing little team at Old Stratford really got behind me, and all the teachers baked cakes and stuff, and the children all sang to them, and it was just a really special time. And I don't know, I'm crying about it. It's just, but they were so appreciative of that, and it didn't take anything to for someone to make a cake and to have a cup of tea, and like, Sandy has been doing that faithfully for years, and she is an absolute inspiration. She was the one who chatted to Andrew, our neighbour, and he said, "What a lovely lady she is," and I said, "I know." And Sandy, you are absolutely inspirational, and thank you, because it's because of you and your example of kindness to others, and that has completely impacted me, and I thank you for that, Sandy. But also, be encouraged. It's so easy to make a cup of tea, and it's so easy to open your home and just make people feel welcome, and they don't need to feel lonely. And the people at school who came, some of them used to work at our school, and they were so encouraged to see the children, chat to the children, and they said, "Can we do this again?" And I said, "Yeah, that's really what I'd like to do. I'd like to do it 3 times during the year." And they were so thrilled. And somebody left and said, "My heart is full today." And I just thank God for his nudge that day, that he nudged me to do it. And I just really encourage you to do the same.
That's great, thank you. Yeah, well then, Daniel. Nice and close.
Sorry?
Nice and close to it.
Yeah. Most of you know what I've been up to for the last 3 years with my neighbours. It's all on the neighbours theme. 3 years ago, I had this feeling, probably God talking to me about organising a service for them every Sunday. Once it was at the time during the lockdown, it was every week. I know what your job is like when you start. During this 1 week, 1 week finished, I had to start working on the following Sunday. And at the time it was hard. When I went to monthly, and then the residents, I used to have about 9 at the time, and then 1 or 2 passed away over the years. I went down to 4, and we had a new one joined a couple of months ago. It's once a month now. And I always said that I would end it at Christmas. This Christmas just gone, the Christmas service we had on a couple of weeks ago was the last one I was going to do. But after getting messages from above, I'm going to keep it going till April, because by April things might be changing. So, and I might not be where I am now. So April will be the last service I'll be doing. So I've done since 2021, I think it might have been, and it's been every week at the beginning and then every month for the last couple of years. It's been good, what God told me to do, and I've been doing it, and it's good to sit there in the week building up to it, going through the Bible, going through what hymns I can play. And that Calypso carol is very popular for my residents. I do like that. But I just say that I like doing what I've been doing, and just listen to what God tells you, because that will get you in a good position, I think. So I just got to say that I have enjoyed that I've done, and just hope that the residents can find somebody else to replace me when I end it in April. But I have got an extra 3 more months of me yet before I can finish anyway. Thank you to say it.
Thank you. It may be time for one more, if anyone would like to. Oh, hello. Definitely needs to go down a bit for you. Shortest person in our family now as well.
I was just going to say that, but you got there before me. That wasn't what I came up to share, obviously. Sorry. That would be a bit silly. This is just a little quick one. I often find that when I want to chat with people, I think about what I wanted to say afterwards. I find that so irritating, and I find it really hard to think in the moment. And I sort of asked God to help me with that. And I just wanted to share that one of the people that I work in the office with has just had a really tough, probably 2 or 3 months. And I just felt able to say some of the things that I wanted to say at the time, rather than thinking about it afterwards, and just felt that God's really helped me a bit and answered my prayers there to be able to share sort of helpful things, comforting things, and things sort of to do with him. And do you know what I mean? All that kind of stuff, but actually managed it in the moment rather than thinking about it afterwards. So I just thought that was really God really helping me and my brain to get together. Thank you.
Well done. If anyone's desperate, quick one. Oh, come on.
Morning, everyone. Just a little say thank you for welcoming for me and my son, but more importantly to that lady over there who gave me the nudge. I just wanted to say my boy is extremely hyperactive, and this morning's singing and energy has tired him out. Bless him. Okay, thank you.